You hear it everywhere, right? The AI race. But the real finish line isn't just about building a smarter chatbot. Nope, it's about total domination of the entire AI ecosystem. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really decode the high-stakes game of vertical integration that's being played out by the biggest names in tech. Okay, let's dive in.
But first, just a quick heads up. What we're doing here is a strategic breakdown. This is absolutely not investment advice, and we're not here to pick winners and losers. Our goal is just to give you a clear map of the AI battlefield so you can actually understand the strategies at play.
So what's the actual prize in this so-called AI race? Is it just about who can build the smartest model, or who can get the most users? Well, the truth is, it's a much bigger game than that, and it really all comes down to one key concept: controlling the entire AI supply chain from top to bottom.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to define what that ultimate prize, vertical integration, really is. Then, we'll meet the three main types of contenders and break down their strategies across a 4-layer battlefield. And finally, we'll size up their strengths and weaknesses and figure out how to even keep score in this epic race.
Okay, so what is this grand prize that everyone is fighting for? See, it's not about winning just one battle. It's about controlling the entire war. And that is the whole idea behind vertical integration. It is the key to understanding this entire race.
Think of it this way. A vertically integrated company is kind of like a car manufacturer that doesn't just design the cars, but also owns the steel mills, the tire factories, and all the dealerships. In the AI world, this means controlling everything from the custom silicon chips all the way up to the final app you use. In the end game, it's all about lower costs, faster innovation, and creating a powerful lock on your customers.
So let's slice into this 4-layer cake that we call the AI stack. Right at the bottom, the foundation is silicon, those incredibly powerful, specialized chips that are really the engine of AI. Next up, you've got infrastructure, the massive cloud platforms and data centers that are like the factories of this new digital world. The third layer is the models themselves, the AI brains like GPT and Gemini. And then, the icing on the cake is the applications, the software that you and I actually use every single day. The ultimate goal here is to own as many of these layers as possible.
Okay, now that we know what's at stake, let's meet the players. Because this AI race, it is not a one-size-fits-all competition. There are 3 pretty distinct types of companies out there, and each one has its own unique playbook.
First up, you've got the infrastructure-first giants. Think Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. These guys built the cloud, and now they're trying to move up the stack to build models and apps, and even move down to design their own custom chips. Then you have the model-first labs, like OpenAI and Anthropic. They started with the brains and are now expanding out into apps and infrastructure. And finally, we have the app-first specialists, like a company called Cursor, who are just laser-focused on a very specific user need and are trying to build down the stack from there.
All right, this is where the rubber really meets the road. We're going to dissect this 4-layer battlefield and see exactly how these 3 different types of rivals are battling it out for supremacy at every single level of the stack.
Down at the very bottom, at the silicon layer, it is a classic build versus buy scenario. The giants are pouring billions into designing their own custom chips, like Google's TPU, all to gain a critical cost advantage. Meanwhile, the labs and the specialists, well, they have to rent their chips, which makes them really dependent on the very companies they're trying to compete against.
Now, when it comes to infrastructure, the giants are basically the landlords of the digital world. They own the cloud, and pretty much everyone else is just a tenant paying rent. Now, this gives the labs and specialists a ton of flexibility to scale up, but it also means they're completely at the mercy of the landlord when it comes to the price of that rent, and whether there's even any server space available.
Okay, up at the model layer, the battle of the brains is in full swing. The labs are the purists here. They're obsessed with building the most powerful frontier models. The giants, on the other hand, they're the pragmatists. They're basically offering a supermarket of models to choose from, including their own. And the specialists, they're the nimble innovators, cherry-picking the absolute best models from everyone else for whatever job they're trying to do.
And finally, at the top of the cake, the application layer. This is all about winning the hearts and minds of us, the end users. The giants are taking a kind of stealthy approach, embedding AI into the products we already use every day. The labs are building their own blockbuster apps like ChatGPT, and the specialists are going super deep, trying to own a very specific workflow from start to finish, like an AI-powered assistant just for software developers.
So we've walked through how this battle is being fought at every single layer of the AI stack. Now, let's zoom out and take a look at the overall strengths and, maybe more importantly, the weaknesses of each player's grand strategy.
This slide really brings all the trade-offs into sharp focus. Google's custom chips give it a huge cost advantage, but its dominance in search and apps makes it a prime target for regulators. Microsoft's deep partnership with OpenAI is incredibly powerful, but it also creates a dependency that could become a liability down the road. AWS completely rules the cloud, but it's kind of playing catch-up at the app layer. And while OpenAI is the undisputed leader in model innovation right now, its crazy high costs and its reliance on the giants for infrastructure could be its Achilles heel.
So, with all these moving parts, who's actually winning this thing? It's not as simple as just checking a leaderboard. To really understand who's pulling ahead, we need to look at a few different key metrics. On one hand, you've got all the flashy technical stats, right? Who's got the best benchmark scores, the biggest data centers, the fastest release cycle? But the real test of leadership is on the business side of things. Are they actually gaining market share? Are customers using the technology? And is it making a real impact on the bottom line?
And really, this is the key takeaway. A true AI leader isn't just building cool tech for the sake of it. They're actually putting it to work across their entire organization and seeing real, measurable results. That's the difference between a science project and a successful business. And it's what separates the real winners from the wannabes in this race.
All of this strategic maneuvering, this intense competition, these massive investments, it's all building towards some kind of final showdown. And it all boils down to one crucial question. What is the future of the AI industry actually going to look like?
So, will one company manage to conquer the entire AI stack and become the undisputed king of the hill? Or is the future going to be a more balanced, maybe messier ecosystem where the giants, the labs, and the specialists are all kind of forced to coexist and depend on each other? The answer to that multi-trillion-dollar question is being written as we speak. Thanks for watching.